Hello once again everyone, Original Blood Ice back, and it's time for an OBA news video because I got a few topics I want to go over and I really don't feel like doing a single video for each one. So let's throw them all together into one big batch and let's hit this thing and let's go from there. So first of all, former Castlevania producer announces a game called Bloodstained, explains why it isn't coming to Nintendo platforms. Now, should we be shocked before we get into this? No, we should not be shocked. I'd be more shocked if it was coming to Wii U, in fact. But anyway, you've probably already seen that the former Castlevania producer, Koji Igarushi, whatever, you can't pronounce his name, has taken to Kickstarter to reveal his bold new project, which let me be brutally honest right here. So sorry, but all the Nintendo fans, when it comes to Kickstarter, they're throwing their money at Yooka-Laylee. Not exclusive, of course, but that's where all the Nintendo fans' money with Kickstarter is going. But anyway, the spiritual successor to Castlevania is titled Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and is coming to the Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Nintendo platforms have been ruled out at present, but at least he has given a reason as to why it's skipping the Wii U. It's not a very good one, but we'll go with it. Our budget left us with two options: build the biggest, most beautiful game we can, or make sure it runs everywhere from the start. As things stand today, we can't afford to create the two separate versions of this game that would be necessary to make it run on every console. That said, we've heard legends about a remarkable treasure hidden in the castle basement. I don't understand that reference, but this is straight up BS. Some people might say, oh, it sounds good to me, that sounds fine, but let's just dissect this a little bit. This guy, this is the spiritual successor to Castlevania. He's using Kickstarter. Yet he has enough money for Xbox One, PS4, and PC? So you really couldn't make one more version? Let's be brutally honest here. Let's cut the fat, cut the bullshit, trim out all the lies. The actual reason is because the Wii U's architecture is different. You don't want to make it on the Wii U because you would actually have to put effort into it. Not that you're not putting effort into the other ones, but you'd have to put in an extra set of effort, which you could say, oh, there's the money, you'd have to pay for the effort. And he doesn't want to put a Wii U version where he doesn't do effort because then it would be like, oh, why is the Wii U version a crappy version? When the other ones are fine. But either way, it's BS. So and right off the bat here, I have a problem with this. First option, build the biggest, most beautiful game we can. Now, we don't know much about this, but if this makes it sound like it's an open world game, the biggest. I don't like people saying, oh, we want to build the biggest game we can, because they automatically think that a game has to be big in order to be called or considered quality. I disagree with that. There's a point where you get too much content. Look at Smash Bros. Wii U, there's like 5 different fucking modes in there that I just don't fucking touch. It's not that they're necessarily bad, I just play the other modes so much more. You gotta pick and choose with your features. If you do too many things, you're gonna flood out your consumers. You're gonna make them have to, have a hard time choosing between game modes and such, and it's just gonna split them all up all over the place. Anyway, and then he says his second choice here, make sure it runs everywhere from the start. Well, it makes it seem like, well, if you're going for the biggest and beautiful game, it won't run everywhere from the start. Because you say, or you can make it run everywhere from the start. So I'm going to just go right off the bat and say that's pretty much confirming it will not run properly from the get-go. And he says, we can't afford to create the two separate versions of the game that would be necessary to make it run on every console. How about, which basically admits right there that the Wii U version would have to be different. Why? I don't fucking know why he understands, unless he wanted to make the gamepads, have some special bonus thing. But there's no fucking reason why you can't achieve. I've said this before, and especially like this is, I think these guys are now an indie company, I don't know, but if you're going with Kickstarter and everything, obviously you're not a huge, big fucking company like the Platonic guys. But my point is, what the fuck was my point? I totally lost my train of thought. God damn it. Totally got derailed there. What was I saying? If we can't afford to create the two separate versions of this game, blah, 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 blah. whatever. That thought has just left the train station and it's not coming back. But anyway, it's so ridiculous that you're purposely choosing to go with every platform but Nintendo. Would I have gotten this on the Wii U? I'd have to see it, to be honest. I don't care for Castlevania. I enjoyed one game in the franchise way back when. I don't even remember what it was fucking called. So, I don't know. Can't afford to create two separate versions. Then make one version that works on both versions. But then, I guess it can't be the biggest and most beautiful game because you're, I guess, hinting that the Wii U can't handle it. Okay, I remember my thought now. Yes, I was going to say, I've said this before, that for the most part, excluding exclusives, any fucking third-party game on Wii U, on PS4, and Xbox One can all look identical. Unless it's a realistic game, in which case Xbox One and PS4 have an edge. But if it's not realistic, Wii U can handle any fucking game PS4 and Xbox One can. You just have to put in the effort with the Wii U version to make it look like that. Anyway, we've babbled on this story long enough. Let's move on here. What do we got here? Some Yooka-Laylee news. Here's a look at Yooka-Laylee's supporting character named Trouser. Very funny idea. It's a snake wearing pants. Almost kind of like banjo pants there, doesn't it look like it? Except for the patch. And it's so funny how he goes out one pant leg and back up the other. And he's got an old cell phone, like 1980s style. Trouser thinks of himself as the best salesman ever. Oh, great. So in-game advertisements. Just kidding. But with his downbeat appearance and 1980s mobile phone, life never took off for him. He'll take your money and count it. He's an adder. And because he knows best, he'll even demonstrate the moves you just bought for you to replicate. If you can follow his jingling. Oh, so he teaches you moves. Okay. I didn't want him to be a snake in the traditional sense. And when Gav suggested we should have shorts on, do I have to add shorts to all of my characters? A great idea for this was his body could curl back up through the other leg hole, so he'll move with a certain springiness, which will be fun to animate. I agree. But let's move on here. Let's go to... Oops, that's the same thing. Here we are. Yooka-Laylee, some more Yooka-Laylee news, because why not? Reaches its £1.5 million Kickstarter goal, which was for live orchestra music. That's going to be amazing. I just hope we get that version with the, by backing as the DLC, or not, what do you call it, backing the Kickstarter with the soundtrack we get, even though it's a digital-only soundtrack, unless you forked over more money. But either way, the 1.5 was reached. And here's what they had to say. A $2 million, or £2 million, I should say, Kickstarter's been added, called Payback Time, which sounds like a bad thing, but as a massive thank you for your generous support, when and only when we've finished and released the final game, then we'll proceed to make some additional content that will be free of charge for all backers. Also, funding also helps us to continue to polish the game to the nth degree, whatever. So... some people are torn on this. Some people say, oh, that's good, because more content is better, but at some people are saying that they have a problem with this because they hate when people reveal DLC before the game's done and released itself. I understand that. I can totally relate. But, that being said, there's a difference when you say, look at when, Bungie, with Destiny, when they said all this before Destiny came out, oh, there'll be DLC, and then it was stripped from the game. That was confirmed. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. But if you look at this, they've already said, only after the game's finished and released will we start making additional content. And some people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't tell us that. Mewtwo from Smash Bros. Says hello. Remember that? The game came out. Smash Bros. Was finished. Quote, finished. Then Mewtwo. Now, granted, he wasn't finished in time for release, which is something that a lot of people have been bitching about with, what was it? I was just reading about it. Man, I am off my game today. I'm forgetting everything. There was something about DLC Splatoon. That's what it was. People complaining about the day one DLC. Not day one DLC. The content that should be day one on the disc, but it's coming later. And it's like, it's fucking free. It's not finished in time. You're still getting it, and you're still getting it for fucking free. So, quit bitching. But it's the same time back to my, or same thing, brings me back to my original point with Smash Bros. Mewtwo, he wasn't there at launch. He's there now. Did anyone bitch and moan? No, everyone was so fucking hyped and excited for Mewtwo, except for me because I hate him. But, whatever. Then, if you also look at fucking online tournament mode in Smash Bros, that was promised before the game came out, and it's still not here. But does anyone care? No, because it's Nintendo, it's Smash Bros, it's fine, blah blah blah. So like, what do you want? There are people that do fuck you over with DLC, like Bungie, like I told you, and there are people who are telling you, yeah, we plan to support the game afterwards. But if you honestly think, right now, right this very second, that they have any ideas for that DLC, then you're dumb. You're fucking dumb. They will think of it after the game's done. They will concept art it, they will plan it out, animate it, do whatever. It could just be fucking pointless costumes. Who fucking knows? The point is, this is nothing to get pissed off about. Would you rather them just, not say anything to your face? Just, if someone asks you, oh, are you going to do DLC? And they just kind of, do that? Now you're thinking, what did I do? You're thinking, I didn't hear anything. Exactly. You want me to, or want them to just sit there with a blank look on their face and just not answer you? Is that what you're saying? I don't think so. Or you want them to literally just be like, nope, no plans for DLC, and then pull a Sakurai, and then, oh, surprise, we're doing DLC later on. Like, is that what you want? Fucking hypocrites. People need to chill out. But either way, I'm excited for it as long as it's not ridiculous. And then there's the whole, some people complaining about, it's free DLC for backers. So if you don't support the Kickstarter, then you'll have to pay for the DLC. And it's only the first DLC. So I can understand that. It's kind of like the Mewtwo thing again, where it was like, oh, it's free for the people who got both games, but you had to pay for it otherwise. I understood that. It was a little bit of a, aggravating situation to some. And I can understand them feeling like this here. But it's like, if you're not supporting... Well, see, this is going to make me sound like an asshole, but whatever. I feel like if you don't support the Kickstarter, even if you do the free, like, $0 Kickstarter, like, you can do that, just to show your support. If you don't show your support, then I don't think you're one of the people who's going to be really getting this game. Not many people out there, it's going to definitely be the minority of people who buy this game who didn't support the Kickstarter. And you're thinking, oh, there's only like 40,000 people on the Kickstarter, so you're thinking only 40,000 people buy the game? Pretty much. Pretty much. Now, granted, yes, more will buy it, but I don't know. The first 40,000 people to buy it are going to be the Kickstarter people. Well, technically, by doing the Kickstarter, they've already bought it, including myself. But anyway, I've babbled on long enough about Yooka-Laylee. I could talk about that stuff for all day long. But let's move on to our last story here. Good old Miyamoto. Miyamoto's Project Giant Robot could be released this summer. So, if you go back to E3 in 2014, then you would remember Miyamoto announcing his other games like Project Guard and Project Giant Robot. Now, some people were, complaining and saying, people always complain. Hell, I always complain. And people are saying, oh, it doesn't look like a very good game. It's, no, I'm not paying $60 for that, or even $70 here in fucking Canada. I can guarantee you I probably will not pay $70 for Project Giant Robot, even though Miyamoto, I always get your games. But, I could definitely see it coming out this summer. There was that infographic before that listed Project Guard, Project Giant Robot, and Star Fox all throughout the year. Project Guard I'm not 100% sold on yet. Both of that and Giant Robot were very early prototypes, remember, so you gotta remember, a year almost has passed since we last saw them. A lot has changed, I bet. And I think I like the concept of Giant Robot, especially if it has, I forget if they said in the past, but if it has online multiplayer, which I don't know why it wouldn't. If it doesn't have online multiplayer, let me put it this way, it's pretty much, I hate myself for saying this, Miyamoto, but it's pretty much worthless. If it's just going to be a local multiplayer Rock'em Sock'em Robots type thing, I don't see it being that, what's the word, long lasting. I mean, if it has a single player, maybe, but at the same time, it's just customize and bam, 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 you win. So I like the concept. I like the gamepad as the cockpit view. It's almost like the Power Rangers where you're in the fucking Megazord. But there has to be online multiplayer with that. Voice chat, I'm not going to get into that, but there has to be online multiplayer. Absolutely. Other than that, let's get back on track here. And then there's Star Fox and everything, of course. But anyway, Project Giant Robot is expected to release in Europe and in the US in the first half of 2015. However, that would be up to June, which is meaning next month, because July to December is the second half, which is running out very soon, as they say. We can only imagine it will come out in June. Now, if that's the case, then they would show it off at E3 and be like, surprise, it's coming out, or you can buy this, at the end of the month. I don't think so. I think July to August for Giant Robot would be the more realistic thing, with Xenoblade Chronicles X also being maybe, hopefully July, August as well for us. Mario Maker's September. Star Fox is probably going to be October. And Yoshi's Woolly World will probably be August, September or something. And I don't know what else. But anyway, Project Guard, I don't know. What else here? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I guess that's about it, really. I've babbled on for fucking 17 minutes. That's gonna do it for this OBA news video. Thanks for watching or listening, I suppose. And as always, come back for more. There will always be more videos coming soon. As always, see you then.